In the lively, fast-paced city of Willow Creek, nestled between stretches of greenery and urban hustle, one voice has steadily risen above the noise when it comes to health and chronic disease. Dr. Alan Reed, as a board-certified endocrinologist with over 2 decades of experience, Dr. Reed has become known not only for his diagnostic acumen, but for challenging long-standing assumptions about one of the most pervasive health issues in the United States, type 2 diabetes. In a recent and widely viewed online seminar, Dr. Reed presented what he believes could be the turning point for millions of Americans battling this chronic illness. His method does not involve costly medications, endless glucose monitoring, or complex diet regimens filled with calorie counting and portion control. Instead, Dr. Reed suggests that reversing type 2 diabetes might be more straightforward than we've been led to believe. According to him, it hinges on just one powerful step: changing how our bodies process and utilize energy. The real story behind type 2 diabetes. Reed begins his presentation by challenging the prevailing notion that diabetes is simply about high blood sugar. Type 2 diabetes, he explains, is a metabolic disorder at its core, not just a blood sugar problem. While elevated blood glucose is the symptom most people associate with diabetes, the true villain lurking behind the scenes is insulin resistance. To help his audience grasp the mechanics of this condition, Dr. Reed offers a relatable analogy. Imagine your cells are doors that require keys to open. He says, insulin is the key. Over time, if your blood is constantly flooded with sugar, especially from processed foods and carbohydrates, the locks on those doors begin to rust. The keys stop working effectively. That's insulin resistance. When cells stop responding efficiently to insulin, the body has to produce more and more of it just to move sugar from the bloodstream into cells, where it can be used for energy. This not only wears out the pancreas, the organ responsible for insulin production, but also keeps blood sugar levels dangerously high. The dangerous consequences of high blood sugar. Reed doesn't sugarcoat the long-term dangers of unchecked high blood glucose. Chronic hyperglycemia wreaks havoc on the body, he warns. It doesn't just make you feel tired or foggy, it can lead to irreversible, life-altering complications. He outlines several common yet devastating consequences of prolonged type 2 diabetes. Erectile dysfunction in men. High blood sugar damages the tiny blood vessels that support healthy sexual function, leading to impotence and emotional distress. Limb necrosis and amputations. As circulation deteriorates, particularly in the feet and legs, minor injuries can turn into ulcers and infections, sometimes requiring partial or full amputations. Vision loss and blindness. Diabetic retinopathy, a condition caused by damage to the blood vessels in the retina, is one of the leading causes of blindness in American adults. Cardiovascular disease. Diabetes significantly increases the risk of hypertension, high LDL cholesterol, and heart attacks. Stroke risk. Insulin resistance and high blood sugar make the arteries more prone to blockages, elevating the risk of ischemic strokes. These sobering realities emphasize why managing blood sugar isn't just about avoiding sweets. It's about preserving one's overall health, mobility, independence, and quality of life. Why traditional advice falls short. Reed spends a significant portion of his seminar dismantling the conventional wisdom surrounding diabetes treatment, particularly the dietary advice many patients receive from healthcare professionals and nutritionists. To key practices come under fire. 1. Eating frequent small meals. One of the most widespread recommendations for people with diabetes is to eat 5 to 6 small meals throughout the day to stabilize blood sugar. On the surface, this may seem logical if blood sugar dips between meals. Constant eating would prevent crashes, but Dr. Reed argues this strategy is counterproductive. Every time you eat, even a small handful of crackers or a low-calorie protein bar, your body produces insulin. He explains, if you're eating 6 times a day, your insulin levels never get a break. You're essentially keeping your foot on the gas pedal 24/7. Constant insulin secretion keeps insulin resistance entrenched. The pancreas never gets a rest, and fat stores are never tapped for energy because the body is constantly in storage mode. 2. Trusting sugar-free and diet labels. Reid is equally critical of how food marketing misleads consumers. People think they're doing something good by choosing sugar-free candies or low-carb wraps. He says, but many of these products still activate insulin responses. He points out that artificial sweeteners like sucralose, aspartame, and acesulfame potassium can trick the brain and pancreas into thinking sugar is incoming, thus triggering a premature insulin release. The result? The body's insulin resistance worsens even if no actual sugar was consumed. Additionally, common refined carbohydrates, white bread, white rice, boxed cereals, even pasta labeled whole grain, are rapidly digested into glucose. They spike your blood sugar almost as quickly as eating a candy bar. He warns. Back to basics. A look at pre-modern diets and perhaps the most illuminating section of his seminar. Dr. Reid turns to human history. Before the rise of agriculture around 10,000 years ago, our ancestors were predominantly hunter-gatherers. Their diets consisted largely of meat, fish, eggs, nuts, and fibrous vegetables. Grains and sugar were rare, and processed foods didn't exist. From an evolutionary perspective, Dr. Reid explains, we were never designed to eat large quantities of carbohydrates, especially not refined ones. Stripped of fiber, vitamins, and minerals, the rapid rise of industrial food production, especially in the last century, has dramatically shifted our intake. Today, the average American consumes over 150 pounds of added sugar per year and nearly 500 grams of carbohydrates per day. That's completely unprecedented in human history. The side dish strategy, rethinking the platter, Reid proposes a radical yet simple shift in how we approach our meals, one that forms the core of his diabetes reversal strategy. He calls it the side dish strategy, inspired by low carbohydrate, high-fat approaches like the ketogenic diet. Step 1. Eliminate refined carbohydrates and added sugars during the reversal phase. Dr. Reid recommends completely removing the following: white rice, pasta, bread, tortillas, crackers, bricast cereals, granola bars, and other processed snack sugar-sweetened beverages, including sodas and fruit juice, baked goods like cookies, cakes, and muffins, even those labeled sugar-free. By eliminating these, you drastically reduce the insulin demands on your body. Step 2. Embrace whole foods, especially healthy fats rather than fearing fat. Dr. Reid encourages patients to embrace natural fats from grass-fed beef, wild-caught fish, cage-free eggs, avocado, oil, nuts, and seeds in moderation. He advises generous portions of non-starchy vegetables like spinach, kale, cauliflower, broccoli, and zucchini. These foods offer vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and fiber, all without spiking blood sugar. Step 3. Make fat your primary fuel source. Be shifting your body into a state called ketosis, where it burns fat for energy instead of glucose. You produce ketones. These molecules provide a stable, clean-burning fuel that does not require insulin to enter cells. That means lower blood sugar, reduced insulin levels, and a chance for your body to heal. Ketones can support brain function, improve focus and energy, reduce inflammation, weight loss, lower triglycerides and LDL cholesterol. Step 4. Rethink meal composition. Instead of viewing meat or protein as the side dish, Dr. Reid encourages making protein and fat the centerpiece of every meal. For example, a 6-ounce grilled salmon fillet with sautéed spinach and olive oil, 3 pasture-raised eggs scrambled with mushrooms and cheese, a bunless burger with avocado slices, a side of roasted Brussels sprouts. Be prioritizing satiety over volume. People naturally eat less often. This creates longer windows between meals, giving insulin levels a chance to drop. The result: rest for the pancreas and reversal of insulin resistance. The beauty of this approach lies in its metabolic simplicity. With carbohydrates minimized, insulin levels drop. The pancreas no longer has to work overtime, over weeks or months. The body's cells slowly regain sensitivity to insulin. As this sensitivity improves, blood sugar stabilizes. Many patients find they can reduce or even eliminate medications under physician supervision. Dr. Reid is careful to emphasize that this is not a cure. Type 2 diabetes is a chronic condition, and relapse is possible. However, He firmly believes it is reversible with the right lifestyle approach. Mindset, the greatest barrier to change despite the scientific validity of his recommendations. Dr. Reed acknowledges the greatest challenge is behavioral and cultural. For decades, we've been taught that fat is bad, that we need to eat every few hours, and that grains are healthy. Undoing those beliefs takes time. In many communities, bread and rice aren't just food, they're cultural mainstays. Family traditions, religious practices, and emotional comfort are often tied to these foods. That's why Dr. Reed founded Willow Creek Wellness, an online community offering meal plans, coaching, recipes, and peer support. Members share stories, exchange tips, and encourage one another on the journey to health. Success stories that inspire. Seminar ends with testimonials from real patients. James, a 58-year-old construction manager from Ohio, dropped his A1C from 8.7% to 5.4% in 6 months without insulin or metformin. Lydia, a retired teacher, lost 38 pounds and reversed her neuropathy symptoms after switching to the side dish diet. Carlos, diagnosed with diabetes at age 43, avoided amputation by embracing Dr. Reed's high-fat, low-carb plan. Final thoughts. Simplicity is power. Reed closes with a message of hope. We've overcomplicated diabetes. He says, it's not about apps, trackers, or expensive drugs. It's about listening to your body, respecting how it evolved, and giving it the chance to heal. For millions of Americans struggling with blood sugar and chronic fatigue, his message is clear. You don't need to fear type 2 diabetes. You just need to change your fuel.